I'm going to start with Rudy Giuliani because he did make some interesting statements this morning about the Mueller investigation. At one point, he said that collusion is not a crime, hacking is. Let's listen.
But you're saying that Paul Manafort did not have any power in the campaign?
I'm not saying that. I said he had a very discreet, important area. What I'm saying is he was never involved in intimate business relationships with Donald Trump. I mean, that's just 4 months. They're not going to be colluding about Russians, which I'm not even know if that's a crime, colluding about Russians.
Okay.
You start analyzing the crime. The hacking is the crime. The hacking
that certainly is the original
Well, the
crime.
president didn't hack.
Of course not.
Okay, so John, I'll start with you. Collusion is not a crime, but hacking is. What do you think Rudy Giuliani meant by that?
I have no earthly idea. I don't know what he meant, Carol. Maybe Doug does. And I tell you, one of the problems with Rudy Giuliani going on TV day after day, doing the tabloid run, is he's not very good at it. Maybe he was back in his New York City days, but every time he goes on TV, things get worse. What he needs to do is sit in his office, shut the door, and figure out what this situation is and how he's going to help the president, because he's not being an asset right now on TV. Anybody that could follow that interview today, and I was on the radio in the AM, so we were going back to it and trying to we put it on closed caption because I was on the air. I couldn't follow half the things he said. Look, all he has to say is this: the tapes don't reveal anything. The president didn't say anything. There's no implication in them. The fact that he did these tapes or didn't do the tapes, or they doctored or he cut it off, is all irrelevant to the fact that there is no evidence the president had any collusion, any wrongdoing. And here's the other thing, which is amazing to me, okay? So this guy, Michael Cohen, that nobody would talk to in Trump Tower, trust me on that, because of his reputation. I had Corey Lewandowski on the other day. He said he avoided him like the bubonic plague. Nobody talked to the guy. He taped everything. So he tapes every meeting that he's ever had with anybody, including CNN's Chris Cuomo, but he didn't tape the little segment where the president allegedly said, Donald, go ahead and have the meeting about his son. That was the only thing in the whole history of his office he didn't tape. I mean, this whole thing is bizarre world.
It is bizarre world. And I will only say, with all of the things you said about Cohen, because Giuliani also, Doug, called Cohen a scumbag in that very same interview, but the president did hire Cohen to be his fixer, and he remained Mr. Trump's fixer for a very long time. So the president at one point had to trust him, or otherwise, I mean, the guy fires everybody. He'd fire Cohen and he'd be gone.
Sure. I mean, we have to remember Donald Trump only hires the best people. He told us that, and clearly that's the case with Michael Cohen here and Rudy Giuliani as well. But there's one thing very clearly that Rudy Giuliani did in this interview, and that's to further move the goalposts. Carol, if we're having this conversation 6 months ago, the topic is there was no collusion, period. Now the goalpost is, well, collusion isn't a crime. And I can tell you, July 4th of last year was the first time I heard somebody say to me, they should have colluded with Russia. That's the next goalpost, and those goalposts are going to be moved.
You really think so?
Absolutely.
John, do you?
Wishful
thinking. You're a big Trump supporter.
Look, the only way the people like Doug and the other never-Trumpers can get any traction is by regurgitating up the same thing over and over every single day. The economy is exploding. We just got 4.1% growth. You know, back in the Obama days, Carol, we were told by the Obama administration experts and the Democrats, the new world order in the U.S. economy was under or at 1% growth in perpetuity, and they had all these economic reasons why. Now we're at 4.1%. We're going to go to 5%. We're going to average over 3%.
So I will give that to you. The economy is booming, but the president himself is not tweeting about that, right, Doug? He's tweeting about shutting the government down to fund his wall, which would actually hurt the economy, right? And, he's talking about Mueller and trying to malign Mueller's reputation. He's trying to malign Mr. Cohen by having his attorney go out there and call him a scumbag. Why doesn't Mr. Trump just stick to what's going great, the economy?
Yeah. You know, Carol, John says people like me, since we haven't really met. I don't know what he means by that. So let me tell you what I think John and I would agree on, which is exactly what you just hit upon. Friday was a great day for Donald Trump. He came out, hit the points on the GDP growth. We have a first Monday of the month coming up on, or first Friday of the month coming up this Friday, where we will probably have another great set of jobs numbers. What Donald Trump should do on Friday is exactly what he did this past Friday. Claim credit for the good numbers, focus on the economy, make the Democrats react to what he's saying on the economy. Instead, it's already Monday. We're not talking about the GDP numbers, which should be driving great numbers, not just for the president, but for congressional Republicans who are on the ballot right now. And for people like me, again, whatever that means, John, I want this to be a great economy. I want Republicans to have something positive that they can communicate to their constituents back home, which when we talk about Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, Michael Avenatti, and all this other collusion, didn't collude, well, maybe collusion's okay talk that we get from this administration and witch hunt and whatever else, we're drowning out that great economic news that Republicans need to stave off serious losses coming November.
Well, the president is having a news conference with the Italian prime minister at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so we'll see what the topics are. And I believe it's going to be open to questions. So
Hallelujah.
We'll see what happens. Doug, hi, John Fredericks, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.